I read 10 books in October 2019. How did I do that? And what has changed? 10 books a month. It's a number that I could never have dreamed about. Like 10 books is a lot because I'm a slow reader, especially when I read on paper or ebooks. When I read with my eyes, I'm extremely slow because I can't focus. But last month I managed to read 10 books, which was very amazing, astonishing achievement for myself. How did I do that? Basically, I sacrificed my time playing StarCraft. I basically stopped playing StarCraft for a month. Pretty much just played 1 or 2 games every 1 or 2 days to relax, and I kind of give up being competitive on ladder, and that saved a lot of time because I used to play maybe 5 games a day. That's about an hour at least each day. So yeah, in October I didn't play much StarCraft. That's one of the reasons I managed to read more books. Also, as always, I read a lot of audiobooks. I listened to a lot of audiobooks. A lot of people don't agree that listening to audiobook is reading a book, but for me it's the same. You receive the same information no matter through which channel. Listening is more efficient for me because every day I spent like 2 hours on my way to and back from work. I can effectively turn 2 hours of my life wasted on transportation and turn it into actually reading a book. So that's very nice. Also, another trick I use is I turn up the speed on the on Audible, and sometimes I listen at 1.15, sometimes 1.25. This kind of speed. If it's a boring book, I can speed up to 1.5 times, but that happens very rarely. Speeding up in Audible is helping me to read faster. So yeah, this is very helpful little tips I learned. Also, I'm using multiple sources of reading, not only Audible book, but also read ebooks and physical books. So I read all these books in different formats so that I don't get bored of it. I can always switch. While reading physical book is the slowest for me, but still I managed to find something interesting. I try to read the things that most interest me the most on paper or on ebook, so that I don't get bored as fast. Well, I read the boring books with Audible so I can manage to finish it. That's the strategy. So what books did I read? Let me just list it real quick. Actually, 1 to 2 of them are from the Great Course. I don't know if we can define it as a book. Technically, it's a lecture, recorded lecture, but it's really long. It's like 18 hours long per each course. So I would say if you put that into text, then it's maybe about 500 or 600 pages, maybe 500 pages. So it would be a very long book if it's read on paper. Anyway, first one is Redefining Reality. It's a great course. It's very interesting. Second one, Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. Third one, Memes in Digital Culture. This is MIT, very scholarly book, kind of boring. It's ebook I read, pretty much skimming it because it's talking about memes and meme culture in society, how it works, how it came to be, and everything. And I'm pretty familiar with the memes, so I wasn't spending too much time, wasting too much time reading the definition of memes. So I skim it. I read it much faster than I normally do. Next is Camp Red Moon. Next is The Last Kingdom. It's the first book I actually read on The Last Kingdom, the TV show. The TV show is based on this book series, The Saxon Stories. So it's one of my favorite television show. It's about Saxons versus the Vikings in the 700s, 800s. So yeah, fascinating stories, and the book itself is even better than the television, so definitely recommend it. One of my favorites. All right, next one is Law School for Everyone, Constitutional Law. It's also a great course book. This one is super boring. I don't think I absorbed as much as I should by reading this book, but you know, I read it. It's in from here and out from there. All right, The Will to Power, the philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche. Also very interesting, fun stuff. I mean, not really fun. It's about Nietzsche's life and work. I've always been interested in philosophy, so that's why I chose this book. Some part of it was very difficult to understand as well. So difficult to read, but definitely worth reading. Next one, Norse mythology, actually also by Neil Gaiman. He actually summarized the Viking, the Norse mythology, the Thor story, the Thor, Loki, and all those Norse gods story. He wrote it in a really easy, simple language that's so easy to understand, and the story is so vivid, so interesting. So really appealing and never boring. So yeah, it was a fun read. Next one is Sputnik Sweetheart, another work by Murakami. It's actually one of my favorite Murakami book so far, and I marked it out on my book list as well. Yeah, I read this one on Kindle ebook and didn't get bored at all. I finished it in like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, which is super fast for me. Yeah, because I was so absorbed into the story. I was living as the character. Murakami does this wonderful thing that he writes the emotion of the characters so well that you feel like they are alive and they're just people among your daily life, and you can just, by reading it, you can like live their life yourself. It's really interesting. That's something Murakami, pretty much only Murakami can do. I haven't found any other writer can do that for me. Next is The Pale Horseman, the second installment in the Saxon story series. Also a wonderful book, wonderful story. Obviously, I've already watched the television show, but so I knew the plot, where it's going, but the book is a little bit different. There were some changes in the TV show, in the adaptation on television, so it's always interesting to read the book itself. Also, the book is much more detailed. So yeah, 10 books a month. That's quite a lot. Usually I read, like, my goal was like 2 or 3 books a month. That's my normal pace, but 10 books a month, it's a lot. It's really a lot. So that puts this year the most productive year for my reading. Right now I'm at 40 books in total this year. Yeah, looking great. I'm trying to hit 50 this year. It was so unachievable, such a high number. My goal was 30. So I'm really happy about October. I sacrificed StarCraft and managed to spend more time listening and reading books. So yeah, I'm very happy about it, and I'm gonna keep it up. And November in November I'm reading a lot, but not as much. So far I finished 4. I'm working on multiple other books, so maybe I'll finish at 5 books this month, but that's more than satisfactory for me, because usually I read 2 or 3 books. All right, that's the situation. So what have I learned? Do I become smarter? Do I become more knowledgeable? Maybe a tiny little bit. It's not really necessary. The results. It's the experience, I guess, to enjoy the book, enjoy reading. Also, I do enjoy making a list and check the list. That's something very satisfying for me personally. I'm kind of some people may think this is a kind of an obsession, a freak, but for me it's fun. Also, I think I do have to read a lot of books in order to find, like, I can find 2 or 3 books that I really love and I can really learn a lot from in every 10 books I read. So that's why I need to read more so that I can discover more. So, alright, that's it for today's little vlog, and yeah, see you in the next update.